We continue our in-depth coverage of the 2012 Pro Farmer Midwest Crop Tour. National reporter Tyne Morgan is back and has this morning's analysis.
We're here now with Chip Flory to talk about the Pro Farmer Midwest Crop Tour. You were on the western leg. You had yields all over the board, but what is the downside risk of these yields now?
Yeah, you know, there is some downside risk in the numbers that we collected out there, and it all gets back to the size of the kernel on the dryland crop in South Dakota, Nebraska, Southwest Iowa, but not so much west central, and I don't believe we've got a lot of risk to what we measured as yield in the northwest part of Iowa. A little bit of risk in west central, a little more risk in southwest Iowa, but when we get into Nebraska and South Dakota, there is risk that the calculated yields that we had on the dryland corn in those states is going to go down, and it all gets back to kernel size. Our calculation assumes a 90,000 kernel bushel.
Okay.
Well, we were in fields that are easily going to be 120,000 kernels to make a bushel, 130,000 kernels to make a bushel. We were in dryland cornfields that, I'm sorry, Jolly Time, Orville, and Jiffy Pop's going to reject this stuff because the kernels were so small. That all has to be factored in as we look at this thing. Now, on soybeans, yeah, there's downside potential on the crop, and it all comes down to weather. The bean crop needs a drink. It has to get some water, and it has to get it now. And we got to fill that bean and make the pods that we counted out there worth something. We saw some beans that were already starting to flatten out. We were starting to see some aborted beans inside of the pods. We've got to have that rain now to save those beans and make a nice plump bean.
Will it really make that much of a difference if we get rains now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For the soybean crop, it will make a world of difference because it still has time to make a heavier bean than what will be left with if we don't get a rain.
Any state specifically, Chip?
Minnesota. Minnesota corn can actually gain a little bit. But if Minnesota corn can gain something, that means that it also has some downside risk.
All right. Thanks so much, Chip. We'll be back with more on Ag Day in a moment.